They stopped breathing, not on purpose. Something shifted behind your name. Phones went quiet, eyes went sharp. You weren't trending, you were triggering. Somebody whispered, "Tell him." Screens leaned forward, rooms tilted, control got nervous. That's new. You didn't arrive, you appeared like a glitch with teeth. Pressure gathered under silence. People felt watched by nothing. That's you. Every rumor changed direction. Every decision hesitated. They don't want your voice. They want your permission. The invisible committee is sweating because you're not on the list, and still, everything waits. Say something, not to lead, to disrupt. Let them hear the fracture. Let them feel the tilt. Because once you speak, control doesn't recover. Not cleanly, not ever. You were never on the list. That's the detail that broke the system. Every room where power sits is built on assumptions. Who belongs, who speaks, who stays quiet. They didn't write your name. So when you walked in, nothing knew where to put you. Eyes adjusted, voices shifted. The invisible seating chart collapsed. Not because you were loud, because you were undefined. Systems don't fear threats, they fear variables. A threat has a direction, a variable has potential. You didn't come with a label, no warning, no role. So the air got heavier. People began recalculating, not what you wanted, but what you might do. That's the difference. Most people are predictable. They follow their hunger, their fear, their history. You didn't, you watched. And when someone watches without blinking, it makes others feel exposed. They don't know what you see. They only feel that you're seeing. That's when control starts slipping, because power works best when nobody feels observed. You became the quiet surveillance, not with cameras, with presence. They laughed at first. Wrong reflex. When a system laughs, it means it's nervous. You didn't join their jokes. You didn't nod at their opinions. You didn't mirror their energy. You stayed neutral. And neutrality is dangerous. Neutrality means you're not owned. They couldn't tell who you answered to. So they started answering to you without realizing it. Conversations began to angle your way. Decisions slowed. Authority hesitated. Not because you commanded it, but because your silence left a hole people filled with their own fear. You became the missing rule, and missing rules break every game. Somebody whispered your name in a back hallway. Not curiosity, concern. Because the ones who run things don't fear resistance. They fear misalignment. You didn't push back. You didn't comply. You simply didn't fit. And nothing terrifies a system more than something that doesn't fit. You weren't meant to be there. But now that you are, everything feels wrong. And wrong, in a controlled world, is the first sign of collapse. Nobody told you. The conversation already started. That's the trick. They don't ask questions. They build situations. A pause, a compliment, a challenge disguised as a joke. Every moment is a hidden camera. They watch how fast you reply, how much you explain, how uncomfortable you get when silence stretches, because silence is where truth leaks. You think you're just talking. They're grading you. Not on what you say, on what you can't stop saying. Most people rush to fill space, to justify, to soften. You let gaps breathe that makes people's intentions echo back. The powerful leverage. They want to know what makes you flinch, what makes you proud, what makes you defensive. That's why they offer things, not generosity, bait. They want to see what you reach for, but you don't grab. You observe the hand instead of the gift. That's when they start leaning in, because they can't tell if you're uninterested or impossible to buy. And uncertainty is expensive. Every smile becomes sharper, every nod more calculated. They are no longer talking to you. They are testing you, trying to see if you're safe to include or too unstable to ignore. You don't reassure them. You don't resist them. You just remain unreadable. That's when the whisper network activates. What do you think he is? Why doesn't he react? Is he dangerous? Danger to them doesn't mean violent. It means uncontrollable. You don't follow their rhythm. You don't mirror their mood. You don't confirm their importance. So their social instruments fail. They can't tune you, and anything that can't be tuned becomes a threat. Not because it attacks, but because it disrupts harmony by existing. They wanted to place you. You refused by not choosing a corner. And now, every room you enter feels like an interview, where the judges are more nervous than the candidate. You think decisions happen in private. They don't. Every move you make casts a shadow. And in that shadow, things are watching. Not people. Interests. Agendas without faces. Networks without voices. Eyes that never blink. You don't see them. But they see the space around you shifting. Because when you hesitate, others pause. When you stay silent, conversations tilt. That's influence before it's acknowledged. So the unseen audience starts leaning forward. They don't know what you want. That's the problem. Desire is predictable. Ambition is trackable. Fear is exploitable. But you move without revealing any of them. So they create gravity around you. Old contacts reappear. New opportunities arrive too clean. These aren't coincidences. They're weights. They want to see what you pick up, because whatever you hold, they can pull. But you keep your hands open. That makes them uncomfortable. They don't know what to attach you to. No ideology, no loyalty, no visible hunger. So they watch harder. Every choice you don't make is louder than the ones you do. It tells them you aren't desperate. And nothing is scarier to a system than someone who doesn't need it. That's why pressure starts to feel personal, not aggressive, intentional. People don't push you to move forward. They push you to reveal yourself. Pick a side, say something, declare a position. Because once you speak, they can map you. Once they map you, they can predict you. But you stay quiet, and quiet becomes a storm. Rumors start growing in the empty space you refuse to fill. They invent versions of you, threats, allies, risks. You become many things at once, and when something is everywhere, it's nowhere they can target. That's when the audience starts to panic, not because you're acting, because you're not. And in a world run by expectations, an unspoken variable is the most dangerous force in the room. Every system eventually meets something it can't solve, not a threat, a contradiction. That's you. They want you visible so they can frame you. They want you quiet so you don't disturb them. Both at once. That's the paradox. So they start pushing, not openly, strategically. A challenge wrapped in praise. An offer wrapped in obligation. A joke with teeth. They want a reaction because reaction is data. Anger gives them a weakness. Agreement gives them control. Excuses give them leverage. But you don't give them any. You don. At fight, you don't submit. You reflect. When they try to define you, they see themselves, their hunger, their fear, their manipulation, and that makes them uncomfortable. You become a psychological mirror. And people hate mirrors that don't flatter. They begin to feel smaller around you. Not because you insult them, but because you don't need them. Their authority starts sounding hollow. Their confidence feels rehearsed. Their power looks borrowed. So they push harder, trying to make you choose. Pick a side, take a role, accept a label. Because once you accept a label, you accept limits. But you don't. You remain undefined, and undefined things can't be controlled. That's when resistance turns emotional, not strategic. They don't oppose you because of what you've done. They oppose you because of what they feel. When you don't behave, you break their inner story. The story where they're important, where they're above others, where they're in charge. You don't attack it. You just don't participate. And that makes it collapse. That's the real test. Not whether you're strong, whether you can remain unclaimed. Because the moment you stay unclaimed, every hierarchy starts to wobble. And they know it. That's why they want you to speak, not to hear you, to contain you. But once a paradox is seen, it can't be unseen, and you've already broken the illusion. There's a moment when hiding stops being protection. That's when you graduate, not into fam, into pressure. People don't just notice you now. They wait for you. Conversations slow, When you enter, eyes track you without meaning to. You didn't ask for attention. It reorganized itself around you. That's how real influence begins, not applause, anticipation. Others hesitate before they speak, not out of respect, out of uncertainty. They don't know how you will interpret it, and interpretation is power. You don't give speeches. You don't dominate rooms. You just exist like a variable that can't be ignored. That's when the quiet becomes loud. People start projecting onto you hope, threat, possibility. They make you bigger than you are because they don't know what you are. You become a blank screen for their fears. That's dangerous, not for you, for them, because they start acting on assumptions. Some try to impress you, some try to test you, some try to corner you. They all want the same thing, definition. If they can define you, they can manage you. So labels start circling: leader, risk, disruptor, problem. But none of them stick, because you don't behave like any of them. You don't rally, you don't rebel, you don't submit. You stay ambiguous, and ambiguity is radioactive. It weakens every structure built on certainty. That's when enemies begin to form, not openly, quietly, not because you attacked, but because you can't be categorized, and things that can't be categorized can't be controlled. You didn't climb a ladder. You step Ed off the map. That's your graduation, from invisible to unmanageable. And the moment they realize that, the game changes, because now they're not watching you out of curiosity. They're watching you out of fear. Power doesn't break from pressure. It breaks from contradiction. And you are walking through their system like a crack. They still wear confidence. They still speak in commands. But something underneath is shaking, because they wait now before they decide, before they move, before they commit. They're waiting on you, not because you told them to, because they don't know what happens. If they don't, that's the fracture. Control is supposed to flow one way, orders down, obedience up. But when hesitation appears, power leaks, and hesitation follows you. Meetings stretch longer, plans get delayed, agendas shift, not visibly, subtly. They start double-checking themselves. That's new. Leaders don't double-check, unless they're unsure, and uncertainty is contagious. People start noticing that the ones in charge aren't calm anymore. They're reactive. They over-explain. They over-promise. They over-correct. Those are not signs of strength. They are signs of instability. You didn't confront them. You didn't challenge them. You just didn't behave like someone beneath them. And that was enough, because hierarchies depend on invisible agreements. Who waits, who speaks, who decides. You stopped following those agreements. So the structure lost. Tension, like a wire, gone slack. It still looks solid, but it's ready to snap. That's why resistance gets sharper, not louder, tighter. People become guarded, careful, strategic, not against an enemy, against a variable, you. And the more they try to lock things down, the more obvious it becomes that they can't, because control that has to defend itself is already failing. You didn't take their throne. You made it wobble, and everyone can feel it. That's the moment. The balance shifts, not in explosions, in silence. There comes a moment when silence stops being empty. It becomes loaded. You've been holding space, letting everyone else fill it with their fear, their guesses, their projections. They think you were waiting. You weren't. You were letting the system expose itself. Every nervous glance, every delayed decision, every over-explained order, those were confessions. Power always tells on itself. When it feels threatened, now the room is tight. Not loud, not chaotic. Tight, like a breath being held too long. They are waiting for you to speak, not because they trust you, because they don't. They want to hear you, so they can finally aim. Silence made you everywhere. Words would make you a target. That's what they think. They don't understand what you actually built by staying quiet. You created a vacuum, a psychological gap so large that everything bent toward it. People changed their behavior around you. Not because you told them to, because they didn't know how you would interpret them. That's influence without commands. Now, when you speak, it won't be loud. It will be structural, like moving a single brick in a building already under tension. You won't say much. You don't need to. Your words will land inside the fractures. They created themselves. That's why they're afraid. They think you will attack. You won't. You'll clarify. And clarity is more dangerous than conflict, because conflict can be managed. Clarity forces decisions. When you finally open your mouth, you won't give speeches. You'll give weight. A few sentences. Maybe less. But they will change how every person in that room calculates their next move. Because you've been the unknown. And once the unknown chooses a direction, every false certainty collapses. Not because it was challenged, because it was revealed. You're not here to overthrow them. You're here to show them they were never stable. That's the real terror. Not losing power, losing the illusion that they ever had it. They built their world on people behaving a certain way. You didn't. So when you speak, it won't sound like rebellion. It will sound like a new equation. And suddenly, everything that used to work won't. They will feel it immediately. The shift, the recalibration. Not dramatic, not explosive, just final. Because when a system has been secretly bending around one variable, and that variable finally moves, the system doesn't fall apart. It rearranges itself around you. That's why everyone is losing their minds, waiting for you to speak. Not because you're loud, because you're the last piece they couldn't account for. And once you stop being silent, the game stops being theirs. The silence after you speak doesn't echo, it spreads. People don't rush to answer, they recalibrate, because something just shifted under their feet, and they don't know which way gravity points now. Your words weren't aggressive. They were precise, and precision is terrifying. It leaves no room to pretend. Eyes stop wandering, postures stiffen, breaths shorten. Everyone realizes the same thing at the same time. The rules just changed, not because you announced them, because you exposed them. What you said wasn't a threat, it was a mirror. And nobody likes what they saw. Control doesn't disappear in chaos, it disappears in clarity. Now they know. You see the pattern, the hidden agreements, the quiet manipulations, and once seen, those tricks stop working. You didn't claim authority, you removed their disguise. That's worse, because power can survive resistance. It can't survive being understood. So they sit there, smiling too hard, thinking too fast, trying to rebuild what just cracked. But cracks don't, close by wishing. They spread, and every second, you remain calm inside that tension. The more obvious it becomes, you're no longer reacting to the system. The system is reacting to you. The room keeps pretending, smiles, nods, careful agreement. But underneath, everything is scrambling. They're rewriting their strategies in real time, repositioning alliances, recalculating you. Because now, you're no longer a mystery, you're a factor. And factors change outcomes. People who once spoke over you now wait. People who once led now glance sideways. Not for permission, for prediction. They're trying to guess what you'll do next. That's the new hierarchy. Not who shouts the loudest, who moves the smartest. And you don't move at all. You let them reveal themselves. One nervous laugh at a time. One forced confidence at a time. The game is still playing, but it's no longer on their board.